Hey guys, Scarlet Rose 95 here, and today I'm here to talk to you guys about our introduction to storytelling. I'm going to be doing a storytelling course on, storytelling. And this course is for all ages, and it's helped to show you how history, science, mathematics, geography, and I call it language, but sociology. That's it, sociology. Plays into storytelling, and there are for storytelling 101, there are 5 parts, but every section has its own amount of parts to cover, and each part will possibly, this is probably storytelling 101, probably go on for a while because we do got a lot to cover before we can get into the fun story building stuff. We also have a lot of materials that you're going to need for this course, so let's go over it right now. So what you're going to need is a pen, a pencil, and an eraser. Typical stuff you use in school. So if you're a kid in school, a teenager, a middle schooler, elementary schooler, you should already have this stuff in your backpack. Line paper, printer paper, plain paper, or construction paper. You're going to need these 3 things for our project, the art projects that coincide with each part in each section. So I have a lot of art projects and a lot of things you guys are going to be able to make at home, but you're going to need at least these 3 things along with this next thing on the list, which is scissors. You're going to need that because one of the art projects we're going to do is making a art journal and a writing journal, so that way when I give out writing prompts or homework assignments, you guys can do it and have fun with it. Also, we're going to eventually get into painting, so you're going to need paintbrushes, a paint palette. Now, for those out there who can't get a paint palette, although I have seen cheap plastic ones go from like $1, so you guys can probably get one, but for those who can't put out the money for that, you can use cardboard. Now, I've also seen paper be used, but I don't recommend it because the paint can seep through and stain tables, so I don't recommend doing that. Also, you're going to need color markers and color pencils. Again, we're going to be tackling art, so drawing and coloring. We'll be getting into markers and color pencils and how they blend and how to use them properly to really make your pictures pop. However, it's going to be a long ways off for that, but we'll get there. And finally, the thing I do recommend is a dictionary. Let me see if I can grab it. I think I have it in my bin right here. I would definitely recommend you have one of these. Now, I know my high schoolers, we carry this around, or at least our classrooms have them available, or even the library at your school. For my adults, if you're watching this either for yourself or because you want to help your students at home, help them with learning to be a little creative, in a more appropriate way to say, then trust me, art has helped me, and I know it can help you guys. But yes, this is for all ages, and yes, I know a dictionary is a little bit more difficult for kids in elementary school to use. There are dictionaries out there, parents, if you do want to get them the material. There are school-level appropriate dictionaries for kids in elementary school and middle school. So look into that, but any dictionary would do. Now, I have the American dictionary for my, if I have anyone overseas watching this. But any dictionary would do, and I would also make sure it's a dictionary and not a thesaurus. Trust me, I got them confused once myself, so putting that out there. Make sure it's a dictionary. Also, now we're done talking about the books. Now let's move on to our book section. Now I have 2 lists of books here. So first is the book list that I am going to be reading from throughout this course, and so I'm going to definitely recommend, if you have the money for it, to get these books so that way you can follow along at home and also reread and really think on what is being told to you through these books. So now there is one book on this list that has been written by a fellow YouTuber who does writing, talk about writing. And I will get to that one at the very end. So starting off with our first book on the list, which is called Right Away. Now this book I recommend for my elementary school students. I got this from elementary school that I worked at, and it has been useful in how to teach kids from kindergarten and up on writing. So yeah, so this is very useful for elementary school kids. So all my parents out there looking for something, here's a good recommendation. I'll be reading from this as well. So my next one. This is another book that I really do recommend you getting at home. I came across this by sheer accident when I was trying to find ways to, looking up psychology of character designs and things like that, trying to get an idea on how to really make my characters pop off the pages and make them more rounded and seeming more real. And I wanted to study the psychology behind these characters. And I came across this book by sheer accident, and I read what it was about, and it really has been helping. So this is called Wired for Story, The Writer's Guide to Using Brain Science to Hook Readers from the Very First Sentence. I will be reading this as well as the others books on the list. So the last 2 are the books that were written by a YouTuber that I follow, and I do recommend his name. He goes by Dear Future Me. He has a series called On Writing series, which covers everything within the books, but he has visual images, diagrams, graphs, things that can really help enhance your learning experience, and breaks it down in an easy, digestible format for you guys. So I do recommend you guys checking them out. So these books are On Writing and World Building, Volume 1 and Volume 2. So, like I said, he has videos that talk about the things that his books do, and trust me, he comes out with videos before he makes a book. So, if you guys want to continue and learning where these books leave off, I do recommend following him, subscribing to him, and I'm a big fan. So I'm also very visual, so if you see me get very excited out of nowhere, it's probably because I'm thinking about something that would make me happy. I just thought about what it would be like to actually, if he's on my video right now. I'm a big follower of it, big subscriber, big fan. Moving on to our other book list, which is the recommendations for people who are interested in becoming writers. They actually wanted to take their writing to the next level. They wanted to really make a story for people to enjoy and possibly at some point get published. So we got 1,000 character reactions, 1,000 strong verbs, and 1,000 helpful adjectives. We also have body beats, emotional beats, which I might actually read from that from time to time as well. And then for our artists, we have light, shade, and shadows, and creative perspectives for artists and illustrators. So we do have several books for you guys. Now, moving on, we do have our rules. I have to go over our rules before I get to our websites. But I'm going to backtrack a little bit because there's one YouTuber I have not mentioned that I do recommend you guys following, as well as Deal's Future Me. She has a lot of videos on the 3-act story structure, the hero's journey, and a bunch of other videos that can help you with subplots and story development. I do recommend, which is Abby Emmons. I'm a big subscriber of her, and she actually really made my day one time, but I'll have story time later on when we get to the end. So now it's moving back over to our rules. There's no grades. I don't grade. The only person grading your work is you. Just try your best, do your best, and you got 100%. Be willing to try new things. Things I'm telling you, I'm not saying that you have to adapt what I'm teaching you. I'm just asking you to give it a try before you dismiss it. If you don't like it or it doesn't feel right to you, that's fine, but give it a try. That's all I ask. Also, there's no such thing as inappropriate. I'm sick and tired of the Twitter war. I'm sick and tired of seeing it on YouTube about whitewashing, blackwashing. I'm so sick and tired of it. Art is subjective. I can take something and draw whatever way I want to, and it's my art. There's no fixing art either. Sorry. I'm sick and tired of seeing that. That is disrespectful because it's saying that you do something wrong when there's no wrong or right way to draw anything. So, yeah. Next. And the last and final, be kind, be respectful, and be helpful. Like I said, I'm going to be doing a Discord, a writing Discord where you guys, I'll link it into these videos. This one probably won't have it, but Storytelling 101, I'm going to try to get it up by then. Get it done by then. And all this fixing art, being inappropriate, saying art is inappropriate, no. Now, I do ask that you be mindful, and if you do art that may not be appropriate for young kids, to keep that to yourself, or I might make a chat room for the different age groups, middle school, elementary school, middle school, high school, so that way you can share that type of art with people your own age, so that way there's no worrying about someone seeing something that is not appropriate for them. And anything that, in my opinion, can be considered inappropriate art would be 18 and older categories. So, yeah. Also, let's be kind in the comment section and in the discussions on our Wattpad, on our writers' Discord. Be kind, be respectful. If you're gonna give criticism, do it in a respectful way. There's no need to shout. There's no need to tell people that they're doing something wrong. Just no, being helpful, be helpful. Don't be rude. If you don't have anything nice to say, don't say it at all. It's a rule I live by. Now, websites. If you're big into fanfiction, you've read fanfiction, you just haven't written your own story, I do recommend fanfiction.net in starting with writing fanfiction. Now, it is difficult once you get used to writing fanfiction because it's really great fanfiction that doesn't really work for original artwork or original stories, and we will get into that, but I always like to tell people to start with what they're familiar with. So if you read fanfiction, you haven't read a lot of original works, I do recommend starting with fanfiction, because it'll at least get you a premise, and it'll get you into the flow of writing before you attempt to do your own original story. However, for writers of all kinds, all different genres, originals, fanfiction, whatever you are interested in, Wattpad is the best website in my opinion. It's free, and trust me, I paid for the premium, and the only thing it offers is that you can change the color of your profile. That's the only thing that it offers. So, most of the stuff on Wattpad is free. Now, for those of you who are actually interested in becoming writers, I do recommend Grammarly. Now, there is a cheaper option, but I do recommend for the best recommendations as far as grammar suggestions go. I do recommend $30 a month, or if you can afford it, and it does save you a lot more money, which is the yearly subscription. So I would recommend that if you can. But that covers everything. So now we're going to go into our actual descriptions of our course, so that way you know what to suspect. So, kicking off Storytelling 101, in our first video we're going to be talking about history of storytelling. Now, like I mentioned before, we have a bunch of school subjects you might be familiar with in school that actually play a role in storytelling. So, yes, you're going to be learning something. First off, history of storytelling. In order to know what you're doing nowadays, in order to understand the purpose behind why things exist nowadays, is to understand the purpose of it in the past. There is a quote that I love and I live. Another quote I live by is, if we don't learn from history, we are doomed to repeat it. And we're going to see exactly what purpose storytelling had. Now, as you also see, we have categories of each section here. So, history is part of the past. We're looking into things of the past and seeing their purpose and why they came about in the first place. The purpose of storytelling. Our part 2 is science of storytelling. This is present. So we are talking about research and about the different processes on how to develop a story and how the science of everything from nowadays can influence. So, research and study, basically, is the topic of that section. And finally, we get into mathematics, cause and effect. 1 + 1 is 2, and so forth. And that is future, because after all, whatever you're doing now is going to cause something in the future. So that is the focus on that, cause and effect. And then we have geography of storytelling, category, world is world. How the environment affects the life and the life of on the planet. So wherever your story is taking place, you can take place in some made-up world. You need to understand how the environment affects the living creatures, including humans, on this world. And finally, sociology, or what I have on board right now, which is language, which is, the category is culture. We're going to be studying the cultures, and study how the cultures affect people's experience and their language, the study of the people on the planet. So, those are our topics. Part 1 is history, Part 2 is science, Part 3 is math, Part 4 is geography, and Part 5 is sociology/language. So, that's what you guys are going to get to go through, and I look forward to seeing you guys again in our first official class. I will be posting these videos, at least try to get at least one video out a month, hopefully. I'm going to start with aiming for once a month. If I do it a lot sooner, then great, but it took me a couple of days to get this board set up, and golly, I needed to get my materials together too, so at least try to get one of these lessons once a month, and hopefully I can talk to some of you guys in the Discord, and maybe if I get any subscribers, I'm going to start with a subscriber count goal of 10. I'm already at 7, so if I can get those 3 more subscribers, then we can raise our subscriber goal up to 20, and we can aim, eventually my goal is to get to 50, so that way I can do live streams, and if I can do live streams, it means we can have a lot more fun. And I can possibly do videos on a daily basis, if I have the live stream capabilities. But unfortunately, I need 50 subscribers to do that, so please like, share, and subscribe. See you guys again in the next video. Bye!